We should be live.
All right. Hey, everybody. I cannot believe I made it here. Some of you may have seen on Facebook, I've been like in a massive snowstorm and no internet at my house for over 2 days and power on and off. And yesterday I lost water because the pipes were frozen. So it's been an adventure, but I actually made it here with like 2 minutes to spare. It was amazing. I trudged through the snow down to my corner in order for my mom to pick me up because we've been trapped in the house. Anyway, left about me is it about you guys, because we are going to learn how to properly release and sell our music online. And we've got my friend Dave Cool here to teach us all the ins and outs of that. Now, he's from Bandzoogle, but just so you know that whenever they do their webinars, everything that you learn on their webinars is stuff that can be used either using Bandzoogle or not Bandzoogle, which is so great about what they do, because sometimes, you know, maybe you guys, for whatever reason, have not chosen their platform. And of course, they've got an amazing platform and I am like so on board with them. But just so know that you don't have to be a Bandzoogle customer to learn in this webinar. So we are going to get started and learn. I am going to probably mute myself and jump in the chat and kind of field your guys' questions and unmute whenever a question comes up that I think Dave needs to answer for you guys as we go along. But let him take it away.
Thanks so much, Bree. Thanks for making it. Geez, what you've had to deal with this morning. I'm up in Montreal, Canada, so you know we're used to the type of weather you're experiencing right now. But I would imagine in Central California, it's probably not a regular.
I think that's the problem. We're not used to it. So the infrastructure just crashes. It's never been this bad in the 7 years I've lived in the mountains. So
wow, that's intense. But so glad you made it. And hello, everyone. Greetings from snowy and cold, as usual, Montreal. So today's webinar, like Bree said, is going to be about releasing and selling your music. Of course, being from Bandzoogle, I'm going to give a quick intro about Bandzoogle and throughout mention certain things that you can do with Bandzoogle, but all of the advice is, you know, you could, whatever platform you're using, I'm going to suggest some platforms. We'll talk about the different platforms that are available to do all these things. And so I'm going to share a slide presentation, and if you have any questions throughout, I'll be able to see the chat, and Bree's going to be following the chat as well. And, you know, we can make it very interactive, and I can, in the slides, I put some pauses for questions, but I can answer them throughout as we have time. So I will share the slide presentation. First, going to turn my camera off there. So can everyone see that presentation on the screen now, that title slide?
I can see.
Okay, awesome. Perfect. Yeah, seeing people respond. There's usually a couple of seconds delay. Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Paul already asked, the slides will be available. Yes, I think that's one of the first slides. So how to properly release and sell your music online. First slide, there it is. If you do want a copy of the slides, feel free to email me directly at dcool@bandzoogle.com. I will send you a PDF copy of the slides, no problem. And there's all the resources. There's some slides in here with additional resources, blog posts. They're all hyperlinked, so once you get the PDF copy, you can just click through to look at some of these additional resources that are provided on the webinar. Another common question for webinars is, will there be a replay? Absolutely. So within a few hours after this webinar ends, you'll receive an email with a link to watch a replay, which you can watch anytime. So for those of you who don't know Bandzoogle, I'll very quickly go over who we are and what we do. So we're officially based up here in Canada, in Ottawa to be exact. We've been around for 15 years. We're celebrating our 15th anniversary, actually, and we power over 35,000 websites for musicians around the world. So we're a website and direct-to-fan marketing platform where you can easily build a website for your music. You don't have to know any coding or anything like that. You get your custom domain included, hosting's included as well. Of course, being a platform for musicians. As part of our 15th anniversary, we figured out that over 80% of our staff are actually musicians themselves. A lot of our support team members go on tour in the summer because they have new albums to promote, things like that. So we're very much a music company. So of course, you know, we have pretty robust music features. So music players, you can stream your music, offer free downloads. You can sell your music commission free, which we're going to talk about. You can set the price. You can make it pay what you want, add lyrics. There's different types of files supported, MP3, WAV, and FLAC. We have an integration with SoundCloud, so you can just import your track directly from SoundCloud. You can set up album pre-orders. We actually report sales daily to SoundScan if you're looking to chart on Billboard charts. And we have social media players as well. If you're a musician that performs live, we have a calendar feature where you can promote your events. You can actually sell tickets to your shows commission free through our events feature. You can connect to Google Maps. Everything's shareable, of course, on social media. And we also have a Bands in Town integration if you're already using that platform. We have a built-in mailing list, which we're going to talk about later as well, the importance of having one, but that's already built into the platform, so you can send professional newsletters to your mailing list subscribers. We have a commission-free store, so for physical or digital merch other than music. So digital files could be sheet music, videos, lessons, things like that, but you can sell CDs, vinyl, cassettes, t-shirts, all those fun things. You can set up discount codes, put things on sale, track your inventory, all through that feature. Our members have sold over $36 million worth of music and merch and tickets, commission-free, through those features, which is pretty awesome. We're really proud of that. In terms of design, it's all point and click. You can choose from, dozens of mobile-friendly templates and totally customize them, or you can start from a blank template that's just white and it has a layout, and then you can customize from there. It's all point and click, although you can add CSS styling if you're an advanced enough user and understand how to do CSS. We do have preset pages to make things a little bit easier for musicians, the most popular being the EPK or Electronic Press Kit preset page, where we lay out all the features on the page for you and you just plug in your content. Data, super important, going to talk about that today. All your data from visitors, plays, sales, your fans, mailing list, all in one dashboard. On Bandzoogle, and we have integrations with a bunch of other services out there: Bandcamp, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, SoundCloud, Facebook, to connect you with a lot of the tools that you're already using. Maybe our best feature, to be honest, and when I travel for Bandzoogle to music conferences, the number one compliment that I get from people is our support team. They're awesome. They're pretty much all musicians themselves. They're online 7 days a week by email and live chat. So super helpful. You can find us online, of course, bandzoogle.com, all the social media stuff. And there's a special promo for Friends of Breed and Women of Substance. Use the promo code WS15 and you get 15% off the first year of any of the other plans. So on to the topic at hand, how to properly release and sell your music online. So there are tons of options to sell your music online, of course. You can sell direct to your fans. You can sell through online stores. So making your music available for sale online is actually relatively easy compared to if you were doing this, 20 years ago. I still remember when CD Baby first started, and it was such a revolutionary thing to be able to put your music up for sale online without having to pay someone, or you weren't able to do it yourself. So a lot has changed, obviously. So now it's super easy to sell your music online and make it available. So now the key is really to have a strategy for where your music goes for sale and when. We're going to cover, the where and when. And so we're going to talk about the platforms you can focus on, how to maximize your revenues, and some ideas at the end of how you can maybe drive some more sales of your music. So section one is where to sell your music online. Again, there's a lot of options. So these are kind of in order of priority, and I'll get into that in a little bit. So your own website, super important. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of Noise Trade, but Derek Webb, the founder of Noise Trade, he's also a Bandzoogle member. He has this great quote: "If you own the data, the money will always follow." So on your own website, you get to collect valuable data because you're selling direct. You get that visitor information, you get the email addresses. That's super, super important. And access to data and the ownership over your data should be an absolutely top priority in your career. Uh, Data can help you choose which song to release a video for, where you should be touring or booking shows, what merch you should be selling, which promotional campaigns are, most effective for you. And it gives you a lot of insight into your fans, so where they live, what content they're consuming, where your website visitors from, how they got to your site, where do your mailing list members live, which of your songs are being streamed or downloaded the most, and where are those streams and downloads happening. So through that data reports dashboard on Bandzoogle, you can actually see your streams and downloads on a map of the world, and you can actually see visually where all your streams and downloads are happening, which is kind of cool. You can see where you have pockets of fans. So again, the importance of having a website, if you don't have one, is that you own the address, so you're guaranteed to own that little slice of the internet, and your fans and the industry will always be able to find you, regardless of what social media platform is popular at the time. You own the experience, unlike social media, so hopefully you're not putting a lot of ads and links and distractions on your own site. You earn more money by selling directly through your own site. And again, you own the data, which is super important. So the upsides, just to wrap this up on websites, the upside is that there's no commission on sales if you sell through Bandzoogle, and you get to collect that valuable fan data and emails. Sales are reported to SoundScan, and your fans can shop for other merch at the same time through your website. The downsides, of course, is that some of your fans might always choose to purchase or stream through their preferred online retailer. That's just a reality, but you should still have that option available to those that would like to. Bandcamp. I'm sure many of you are already using Bandcamp. It's a great platform. Again, the upsides is that you collect valuable data and emails, which they supply to you, so you're able to collect those emails. They do report sales to SoundScan, which is great, and you can shop for other merch at the same time. One nice thing about Bandcamp is that there is an emphasis on music discovery. They do a lot through their blog and podcast and algorithms to really recommend music to music fans, which is really cool. Downsides, of course, they do take 15% of sales. I think that goes down to 10% once you reach a certain sales threshold, but they do take a cut. And again, some fans might always choose to purchase through their preferred online retailer. We actually do have an integration with Bandcamp. We're the only website platform to have this. Even though we have our own music players, we can sell directly and do all the things. A lot of bands are already set up on Bandcamp, or especially record labels have all their artists on Bandcamp. So we have an integration where you just put the link to the album and it automatically imports it, skins it to match whatever template and colors you're using on Bandzoogle. So even if you change your template or change the color scheme, that player is going to change with it. So it looks like it's been designed into your website, and all the streams and sales go through Bandcamp, and it just makes it look like it's been designed onto your into your website. CD Baby, so I mentioned them off the top. Obviously, many of you probably know CD Baby, and many of you probably use them for digital distribution, which we'll get into a little bit later. But you can sell directly through CD Baby as an online retailer. So through them, sales are reported to SoundScan again, which is great. And you can collect valuable fan data and email addresses when you're selling directly through CD Baby. They do take a cut of sales. Your fans can't really shop for other non-music merch items. And again, fans might always choose to purchase through Amazon, iTunes, or another platform. So speaking of those platforms, iTunes, Amazon, Google Play, all that fun stuff. As much as it feels good to get those sales reports from your digital distributor, whether it's CD Baby, TuneCore, DistroKid, whoever, what you don't get is the email addresses from fans who may have bought your music, because those are customers of those services. So they won't share that information with you. So with your super fans, your biggest fans, you're going to want to make sure that you have their contact info to be able to reach out to them about other music, merch, shows, that kind of thing. So the upsides of selling through these types of platforms, of course, is that most music fans already shop for music on those stores. Sales are reported to SoundScan, which is nice. But the downsides is they take up to 30% of your sales, and plus whatever the digital distributor might be taking as well. And you don't get access to the customer emails, which is huge. And fans can't shop for your other types of merch, tickets, that kind of thing at the same time. I mentioned a few different types of digital distributors. There's so many out there. And Bandzoogle, at Bandzoogle we work with TuneCore. There's obviously CD Baby. There's DistroKid, Symphonic. There's a ton out there. What I would recommend is if you haven't read Ari Herstand's digital distribution comparison post, it is an awesome resource. It's linked to in this slide. If you don't know Ari Herstand, he's a musician himself and runs a blog, Ari's Take, which has a lot of great information on it. So I'd recommend checking this out. Another option to sell your music online is SoundCloud. I'm not sure if anyone on this webinar uses SoundCloud at all, but obviously there's a large community of users and curators, music curators. If you're a pro user, you can actually add a buy link to your tracks and send them to your preferred platform. Downside is you do have to pay to be a pro user to add those buy links. And SoundCloud, in this slide here, I put future sustainability of the platform. SoundCloud sounds like they're doing better now, which is great. They had a rough year and a half, but it seems that things are stabilizing, which is awesome. It's a really great platform for musicians, and hopefully they're around for many years to come. But there was about a year and a half where it was not looking so great. But they just released some numbers in the last few weeks that show that they're doing a little bit better. So, are there any questions on the where to sell your music before I move on to section 2? Just going to go through the chat here to see if there are any questions specifically.
Sorry, I'm super slow because I'm working on an unfamiliar computer. But there was some questions about, someone was asking about DistroKid. I know you mentioned that. I know several people that use DistroKid. It's pretty similar to CD Baby.
Yeah, DistroKid is a different model. So DistroKid, you're going to pay $20 a year and release as much music as you want. TuneCore, I believe, is $50 per album per year. And CD Baby, I believe there's an upfront fee of maybe $35, and then they take 9% of your sales. So it really comes down to math, really, how much you're expecting to sell. How much you think you're going to sell. Obviously, if you're doing super high volume, the model that doesn't take a percentage of your sales is better. So the TuneCore or DistroKid. If you're not so worried about that and just want to make sure your albums stay up forever, then CD Baby's a good option. Again, I would encourage people to read Ari Herstand's comparison post because he does the math. So you can actually just...
Yeah, that is an amazing, amazing post.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, and maybe you're going to cover this later, but someone was asking, as you were talking about Bandzoogle, they're like, I want this. How much is it? So do you have different plans? Are you going to go over that later? Or?
Oh, I didn't include that. But yeah, there's 3 different plans. It starts at $10 a month, so $10, $15, or $20 a month for our pro plan. And basically it comes down to storage and mailing list members. There's different caps on the light and standard. Pro, you have unlimited everything. And on pro, you get the SoundScan reporting, some of the extra e-commerce tools. If you pay for an annual subscription rather than monthly, you actually get 2 months free. So you're only paying for 10 months of the 12, the equivalent. And then if you use the Women of Substance discount, you get 15% off that as well.
That's right. WOS 15. Use it.
Yeah. So it ends up being, pretty affordable, especially that first year. You save quite a bit if you're on an annual subscription, especially. But yeah, you can go to bandzoogle.com, and I believe there's a pricing page, and it lays out all the different features that come with all the different plans. But basically, the Pro is absolutely unlimited everything. Unlimited mailing list members, storage, pages. You get all the things.
Awesome. Okay, those were the ones that stood out to me. So if anyone has any other questions, they might want to just throw it in there real quick now, but we can jump to the next section probably.
Perfect. Will do. All right. So the next section is when to sell your music. So this comes down to timing. And so, making your music available for sale online, again, is relatively easy, but you need to come up with a plan months and months in advance to decide, when you're going to make your music available during the marketing of your album and which tools to use. So, to illustrate it, just going to look at like an example album release schedule, more or less, very rough, but obviously these things change and are unique to each musician. But phase 1 of releasing an album was really all about engaging your super fans. And so this is even before going into the studio. You should be already thinking about marketing and promoting your album, your music. And so to engage your super fans, this is the time where you can do a crowdfunding campaign. And we have many members that use Bandzoogle to crowdfund because it's commission free through our store. So you can just set up the different tiers through the Bandzoogle store. There's a few different crowdfunding platforms out there. I don't know if your mic is on or if you could turn it on to talk about crowdfunding a little bit. When I originally created, thanks. I just want to get your 2 cents on this, your perspective, because when I originally created this this presentation last year, of course I've updated a bunch of times since then, but originally this whole section was mostly about pledge music. And for those of you who don't know Pledge Music, they're a crowdfunding platform specifically for musicians. They've been around for many years, and they have seemingly fallen on very hard times. Lots of reports out there, including from some Bandzoogle members, that they're owed a lot of money for campaigns that ended months ago. The latest update this morning is that they're not even accepting new pledges for their active campaigns. You get a message saying that you can't donate. So I don't know, Bree, what you're instructing artists to do in terms of crowdfunding at this point, because I got an email literally yesterday saying, hey, I was thinking of using Pledge, but what should I do? And I told the person, don't. You should probably avoid Pledge.
I definitely would avoid Pledge. I mean, I think Indiegogo is a good option. But the problem with Kickstarter is that you have to make all the money or nothing. So Indiegogo is an option where you can, if you don't make your target, you still get your money. So
yeah,
I think that would probably, I know when Ariel Hyatt did her book, she was using Rocket Hub, and I don't think they're around anymore either.
No, or they pivoted or got acquired or something. It's definitely not the same platform from when she released that guide. No.
Yeah. So, I guess for me right now, without knowing anything further, using Indiegogo or maybe using Patreon more like a project-based platform to raise money might work too.
Yeah, exactly. And again, so 2 notes, not to be too self-promotional, but one, you can use Bandzoogle store feature to run a crowdfunding campaign. We actually, one of our members wrote a blog post about doing that. And the other thing is, a little teaser here is that sometime this spring, early summer, Bandzoogle is going to be releasing probably one of our biggest features in, I don't know, 8 or 10 years, where we're going to be releasing subscriptions and memberships. So
that's exciting. Oh my God.
Yeah. So it's going to be commission free, like all of our other sales tools. So you'll be able to set up a monthly membership and subscriptions commission free through the dashboard on Bandzoogle. It's a whole new interface. It's a separate interface to manage all those subscriptions, and your fans will be able to manage their profiles and things like that. So it's been designed. It looks super awesome, and it's being coded right now. So there's still a bit of work to do, but that's on the way.
That's pretty exciting. Wow.
Yeah, it's been a big request for many years, and we're excited to be releasing that. So yeah, so I just want to get your perspective, Bree, because it is a bit of a hot topic in the industry right now. And when I was looking at the slides for this section, I was kind of sad because Pledge Music for so many years was really the leader in music crowdfunding, and don't know what happened there, but I would definitely avoid them for now. And I'm not sure what the future holds for the company, but we actually,
if you can wait, you can use Bandzoogle for crowdfunding, and that would be awesome. There's a blog post, right, that you said.
Yes, I don't think it's in the slides, but if you email me, I can send you a link. The band used Bandzoogle, Kickstarter, and Pledge at the time. This is going back 2 or 3 years, and they did a comparison of their experience with all the platforms. It's really super informative on crowdfunding.
Cool.
But yeah, and Bandzoogle actually had a integration with Pledge Music that we've removed, obviously. So definitely avoid for now until further notice, I guess. But it's a pretty sad situation. So regardless, Indiegogo, I think, is the one I would point to as well. I think that's, again, for the reasons that you illustrated, Bree, with Kickstarter, you have to reach the goal to get the money. So that adds a certain layer of pressure, and things happen, and you want to make sure all that
Which
effort.
some people like that pressure, and that's why they
Mhm.
choose it, because they do better under pressure. But some people are just fall apart. So know what
Yeah.
kind of person you are and choose wisely.
Yeah, indeed. So, so this phase of engaging your super fans. So if you've already recorded your album, you've kind of already missed out on that. As soon as you decide to work on a new album or new music, you should definitely already start engaging with your fans and letting them know about them, about the new music. You know, bring them along that journey of writing, recording, and releasing the album. Because it helps build anticipation for your new music, and it strengthens your relationship with those fans. And you know, in the process, you do raise money, and it's very important. I won't get into too many specifics about crowdfunding, but the goal of crowdfunding is not to make money. And those tend to be the campaigns that fall flat. If it's really just you're asking for money, you know, there has to be something in it for your fans, and it's really more about connecting with them, giving them some cool rewards for, you know, donating money early on in the process, exclusive things, signed things. You know, I've seen some really, you know, funny rewards. Actually, that same band that used Bandzoogle, Kickstarter, and Pledge Music had a matching tattoo reward from one of their campaigns, and a grandmother from Ireland got that reward and got a matching tattoo with the singer of the band. So, you know, creative things to engage your fans and get them to support the album. It's one of the resources. So there's a sort of a 11 do's and don'ts of crowdfunding based on a lot of our experiences at Bandzoogle with crowdfunding. So you can check that out if you want to copy the slides again. So that whole phase, that whole section of this webinar is a little bit shorter than it used to be, again, because I used to go into a lot more details about Pledge Music, unfortunately. So, so really that whole first phase is, even before you set foot in the studio, is just to be conscious of the fact that you could be engaging with your fans and letting them know about your music and giving them away. It might be a small percentage of your fans, but that small percentage can really help you raise money for the project. So it's important to give them the opportunity to do so. There's so many artists that I know and love and support that I don't hear about them for a year and a half, and all of a sudden they have new music. I'm like, great, here's my $10 or whatever for their music, or I'll stream it on Spotify. I'm like, I would have given you $50 or even $100 if you know, had given me the opportunity to get something cool to support the making of the album. So just keep that in mind, that you most likely have fans that are willing to give more. Phase 2 is pre-orders. So again, through Bandzoogle, you can do pre-orders. Bandcamp does pre-orders. And I'm sure there's some other platforms out there that do. If you've already crowdfunded your album, it's likely included a digital download of your album already. So you've kind of taken care of that in a way. But whether you crowdfunded your project or not, it's still a good idea to get your album up for pre-sale. And the reason being is that some fans wouldn't want to participate in the crowdfunding campaign, or maybe just didn't hear about it for whatever reason, even though I'm sure you're doing a great job, you know, on social media and through your email list, getting the word out. Maybe they didn't have time or forgot. Setting up a pre-order gives those fans and maybe the less, you know, super fans an opportunity to pre-order the music. And so it's during this phase that I see a lot of artists making a bit of a strategic mistake, in my opinion. And the temptation is, and has been for years, is to set up an iTunes pre-order, which is something you can do through digital distributors. And it feels nice and it's awesome. You can say, you know, albums up for pre-order on iTunes. But again, you're not going to get, first of all, you're not going to get all the money, and you're not going to get those fan emails. So why not maximize your revenues and collect that data from people who are no doubt your biggest fans? So you might as well do that as much as you can during these initial phases of releasing an album. So again, focusing on the platforms where you can not only make the most money, but also collect data and email addresses to use for future campaigns. Phase 3 is the album release. So, you know, release day, let's say. Again, you want to put the music up on your website. have it available on Bandcamp if you use Bandcamp. And this is where, of course, working with a digital distributor comes into play. You've hopefully maximized all your revenues and collected emails from your biggest fans, and you're officially releasing the album. So then you're going to get your music out to iTunes, Amazon, Google Play, and streaming platforms like Apple Music and Spotify. Could probably give a whole webinar, obviously, just on streaming. It's such a big topic, and I'm encountering this less and less as Spotify grows and the music discovery aspect grows. I think more and more artists are seeing the value of having their music on Spotify and, you know, a platform like Apple Music. The reality is that many fans will only listen to music on those services, especially casual fans who aren't going to contribute to a crowdfunding campaign or pre-order your music. You know, but they might still want to obviously hear your music. And if you're not on Spotify or Apple Music, then to those types of music fans and consumers, you don't exist. So, you know, as long as you've engaged and you know, done a good job of monetizing those first couple of phases of your release, your music should definitely be available on streaming services. And again, with streaming, it's less about money, because obviously the per stream payouts seem a bit paltry individually, but although they do add up, you know, it really is more about music discovery and the data that especially Spotify is giving artists access to. You know, with Spotify, for example, you know, you can use that streaming data to figure out where to book shows, to, you know, book your next tour based on your listener locations, even which songs to include in your set list based on the song and location data, which audience you can social for boosted posts and ads on Facebook or Instagram based on your demographics on Spotify, you know, which song to put more promotional effort into and more maybe resources or money into, let's say, you know, putting together an official video or things like that based on your song and playlist data, and even which tracks to pitch to. If you're going to do radio campaign, promote to radio, you can look at the listener demographics and again, the song and playlist data to see which songs and which types of stations you should be going after. So again, data is super, super valuable to look at that data. So another resource you can check out is obviously everyone wants to know, you know, how do you get on these infamous Spotify playlists? Again, that could be a whole other workshop, but there's a blog post that we have on our blog all about doing that.
Yeah, and shameless plug, we're going to have some sessions on all of these subjects for our upcoming Profitable Musicians Summit, which is going to be exciting, all about, you know, all the stuff we talked about earlier about memberships. We're going to have one all about Spotify playlists, so you can get more information on that there. Do you say anything about Spotify for artists? Because I think that's something that people don't take advantage of.
I'd have to take a look at the post. I believe it's mentioned. It must be, because that's, you know, a really great resource for artists to look at.
Yeah, because for me, I love Spotify. I'm a Spotify user, and, you know, maybe that makes me persona non grata among some, you know, musicians. But if I find an artist on Spotify and I really love what they're doing, I'll listen to it there, because that's where I listen to music. But then I'll find, you know, I'll find out more. And if they're in Spotify for artists, then I can dig deeper and go to their website and, you know, find them on social and all that. So make sure that you guys do that.
Yeah, 100%. I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of the presentations during that summit. That's great. You guys will be covering that. So YouTube is an interesting one, and for a lot of years, artists resisted putting all their music on YouTube, or they just put in an official video, maybe a lyric video for a song or two, which is great, but you should really have all of your music up on YouTube. And now, personally, I find YouTube and Google's approach to music so incredibly confusing, and I work in the industry, and these are the things that I follow, but I have lost track of what it's called, you know, what app it is now. Like, they changed the name so many times. But I do know that your digital distributor, in most cases, will automatically take care of this for you. They will put your music up on YouTube with the album cover, and it'll go into, obviously, it'll be on YouTube, and then it'll be part of their paid subscription for YouTube and whatever their music only subscription service is. All of that music will be available. I don't know, Brie, if you know more about that.
You know, I don't, but someone was asking that exact question about how do I get CD Baby to put my music on YouTube. That's, I'm sure, a box that you check when you're uploading your music for release on whatever distributor you use.
Exactly, yeah. And in fact, if you just Google CD Baby YouTube, there's their help article about that, which I read this morning. And so it seems to be a pretty automatic thing. But yeah, there might be a box, like you said, that you have to check when you're distributing your music through them. And I know other distributors do that as well with YouTube, so they can take care of it for you.
And again, it's just like Spotify. I don't see a reason not to, because some people consume, like my daughter and a lot of teenagers, they consume all their music on YouTube.
Yeah.
That's just how they've grown up doing it for whatever reason. So you want to be able to be available there. I mean, she makes playlists on YouTube just like Spotify.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, so many people use YouTube as just, it has been for years now the largest music streaming service in the world. Just people didn't really see it that way. And there was a lot of people complaining about Spotify payouts and things like that. But YouTube's payouts are actually less.
Yeah.
And it's a bigger platform. But I guess YouTube has better PR firm working for them. But
they'll just crush any bad publicity.
Exactly. But yeah, super important for all those reasons. Just make sure your music is available on YouTube, because that's where a lot of people are going to look for it. And if it's not there, some people will upload it themselves. And now there are more tools and resources available to you to be able to monetize that. If that does happen, you can, if that channel, let's say, has ads running on it, then if they're using any of your music on their channel, you get your fair share of the advertising revenue, or you can demand that they put ads or remove the track completely. So again, digital distributors.
No, they're really, really good. Every time I upload my podcast, I get all these notices that say copyright has been, claimed for this song. So they know where your music is, and they're trying to get your money for you.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's good to know. Yeah, they've gotten much better in the last few years of taking care of that. And yeah, someone just said in DistroKid, yeah, they put it on YouTube, but you have to pay a fee for them to track and get you its monetization. Yeah, it's usually an additional service to track and search YouTube for instances of usage of your music. But yeah, most distributors do have that as an option. So yeah, when you release your album, again, don't forget your website. Even if it's available on all the things, you should still have a music page on your website that offers a direct-to-fan option. And of course, include links to all the other places in case people prefer to just stream on Spotify or whatever. If there's anywhere online that fans should be able to find your entire discography, it's really on your own site. And so, when you're designing your music page, make sure it's super engaging, easy to scan, lots of music to listen to, lots of options for your fans. And again, have your full discography. And you don't have to stream your entire catalog, although at this point that's become more common. You can pick certain songs to play in full, or you can actually set custom preview clips if you want. But in this day and age, everything is pretty much available for streaming, whether it's on streaming platforms or YouTube. But always include something free to try to collect emails, something exclusive. Include lyrics. Lyrics is such a popular search on Google, because in the age of streaming and digital downloads, you don't get the booklets with the lyrics. So fans want to know what the lyrics are for the song. So have that on your website. And of course, have physical options like CDs, vinyl, cassettes are even making a comeback now. We're seeing some of our members sell cassettes through their stores, which is kind of funny.
I just saw a blog post about that. That's just so funny to me, growing up with cassettes.
I know. And but you read these statistics online of like cassette sales have risen 234%, but then you look at the actual sales, it's not, they rose 234% because
from like 1 to 5.
Exactly. So, but in certain genres, making cassettes is cool again. And having them at your shows and selling them on, through your site, or I think possibly even Bandcamp. So it's kind of a funny trend. We'll see, but yeah, you should have anything that you've produced that's available for sale at your shows or what have you should be on your website, available online. Obviously, adding your most recent music at the top. You can use column layouts or sections to separate the albums, and it's also important to add context. So information about the album. What I love seeing is when artists have an album and then beside the album they have some of the top reviews. So it helps put things into context and perspective when someone's browsing the page. And again, you can of course put links. We have a feature at Bandzoogle called My Sites, and it's just dozens and dozens of different platforms and sites where we automatically generate the logo for your website, and you just add your custom link. So it could be iTunes, Spotify, CD Baby, whatever, and you can have all that information on that page as well. So we have a blog post, of course, about how to create the perfect page to sell music on your website, which is linked to on the slides. Any questions? And Sue, there's quite a few people chatting. I'm not sure if there's anything.
Yeah, I mean, I think one question that came up is like, do I want a separate page for an EPK versus the place where I sell my music? And I would definitely say yes. We'll probably do another webinar in August about EPKs because we did one last August and it was super popular because EPKs are awesome. And Bandzoogle has a great template for that. But I would say you definitely want to have a separate page for your EPK versus where you sell the music and all that stuff, because it's a different end user, right? That's on the page.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's funny. So the newest post on our blog right now is an updated version of one of our all-time most popular blog posts called "The 8 Things That Should Be in Every Band's Electronic Press Kit." So it's fresh on my mind, but yeah, you're going to have different types of people visiting your website. You're going to have your current fans. You're going to have potential fans. So maybe you're playing at a festival or you're opening up for a more popular artist and their fans are checking out your music. And you're going to have media and industry bookers, things like that, visiting your site. And they all have different needs. And for media and industry bookers, they're going to want to find your press kit page easily. They're not going to want to have to email you to get a password or something like that. Just make it easily accessible, visible on your site. It just has to be a page on your website. Chances are your fans, if they do click on it, I mean, it's going to have things like your bio and promotional photos. It might be of interest, but it's mostly for the industry to be able to quickly grab the information that they need. So yeah, it should definitely be separate from, it shouldn't be an add-on to any of the other pages on your site. It should be its own page. And in fact, on Bandzoogle, we have, I think I mentioned this at the beginning, but we have preset page templates. So for your store, music, we have one for EPKs. So we lay out, different types of features that we think should be on your EPK, and you just plug in the information.
It makes life so easy, you guys. It is so worth it. You don't want to have to pay a web designer or try to figure it out yourself. Trust me.
No, exactly. And, EPKs are, it's such a popular thing. It's especially if you're looking to, if you're promoting music and especially if you're playing live and you're looking to book shows, like that press kit should be a living thing that's constantly updated with the latest things going on in your career, your bio, latest promotional photos, things like that. So, yeah, it should definitely be separate. That was a long-winded answer to say yes. You should have that separate from where you're trying to sell music to fans.
So someone said, does all this that we just talked about still also apply to singles?
That's a really good question. The crowdfunding component, I'm not sure.
You can crowdfund for a single if you want to.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. If you can show your fans why it's important and all the things you're going to be doing. Let's say you're working with like a top-notch producer and you're going to the studio and you're going to make
PR firm, or you're going to do radio, like a radio blitz or whatever.
Exactly. That's great points. Yeah. So yes. I guess the answer is yes. It would obviously be on maybe a slightly lower budget than obviously a full album crowdfunding campaign. But yeah, if you do all those things, that costs money. And a lot of we have an artist on Bandzoogle that's all they do now is release singles every 2 to 3 months, and they put a lot of effort into them. They don't crowdfund them necessarily, I don't think, but with the amount of effort that they put in going to the studio. They work with different producers. They're different photo shoots. They, like each single has its own story, cover image, campaign around it. So yeah, it could easily be crowdfunded, I would say.
And it's great PR wise because you're making the most of each one and you're constantly in front of people. Super smart, I think.
Yes, I agree with that. Yeah, especially in this day and age, people forget who you are after a couple of days or weeks. If you're constantly putting out new content, new music, it helps people remember you.
So Serena was asking, how important is it to have photos versus video? Do you think it's better to have video nowadays in relation to like your music?
I don't know when it comes to selling. That's an interesting question. When it comes to selling, I mean, obviously video is probably taken over almost all other mediums in terms of popularity. Like people love the interactivity of video. It's a little bit more engaging.
I would say video, well, both video and photos are super important for your EPK because if you're talking to a venue, they want to see you performing. And if you're talking to press, they want to have photos they can grab. But
yes.
As far as selling the music, do what you can. That's what I say.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, if you've put a lot of budget and effort, not necessarily budget, but a lot of effort, you've created a really fantastic video for one of your singles, then, you should definitely have video on your website 100%. There should be a video section. There should be a video on your homepage, things like that. When you're selling, I'm not sure if having the video on the music page is going to help with sales. I don't imagine it would hurt, but I think that it serves a different purpose.
Okay. There are several questions here that, in my opinion, are like way beyond the scope of this webinar because there's like, how do I get fans and how do I do Facebook ads? So I just want to, first of all, point you guys to my podcast because there's a lot of episodes on specific stuff. If you go to femusician.com and look at the podcast page, and there's a lot of, you can go in the menu and search for specific topics because we can't go into that here. There's for example, this question that Adam had and Rico had about doing a crowdfunding campaign when you don't have fans yet. I mean, my opinion and in my kind of framework that I've created in the Musician's Profit Path is don't do a crowdfunding campaign until you're in like stage 4 of your music career under my plan, because it's really hard to get fans while you're crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is more about taking advantage of the fans that you've already spent a lot of time and effort getting. What is your opinion on that, Dave?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree, and I don't know if anyone here remembers Topspin from years ago.
Oh my gosh, I remember the name.
Yeah, they were kind of the big direct-to-fan platform for many years and had a bit of a rock star CEO. And, we actually had an integration with them for years. And they had some good tools, but just couldn't make it work for whatever reason. And they had a great quote, whereas if you shouldn't try to monetize anything until you have at least 2,500 emails in your mailing list database, which sounds like a lot, and maybe it's too much. I'm not sure, but I like the idea of that really at the outset, if you're starting from, step 1, you have no fans, just put out awesome music, focus most of your time on creating awesome music and awesome experiences at your live shows if you perform live, collect emails, engage with your fans on social media as you grow your fan base. And then once it reaches a certain point, then you start to monetize it. But, if you have 5 people on your mailing list and, if it's 4 members of your family, your crowdfunding campaign is probably going to fall a bit flat.
Yeah, there's definitely no magic formula for getting fans. It's about hard work. It's about ground level person-to-person contact, in my opinion, whether that's, at live shows or, through Facebook Messenger or responding to people on posts or however you like to engage with your fans. You got to do the work. So yeah, I pretty much say like anywhere between 1,200 people on your email list to 3,000. That's when you should think about starting a crowdfunding campaign, depending on what you're asking for. Maybe if you're just asking for a few $1,000s to, upgrade your home studio or get some, equipment for your tour or something like that, you can start with that or crowdfund a single, like we said earlier.
Yeah.
That would be my recommendation on that.
Yeah, it's such a big topic that, that's not only another webinar, that's a whole series of webinars of gaining fans. And
totally. Yeah. Check out the podcast for sure, you guys. It will help you. There's a lot of specific. Did you have something you wanted? I've got several questions that relate specifically to Bandzoogle that have come up, but did you have something that you wanted to?
Oh, no, go for it.
Okay,
more
so
questions. Yeah.
Questions have come up about, first of all, so say you got your website, it's like exactly how you love it, but then you've got something new that's coming out and you want to make that the main focus of your website for a while, but then you want to go back to the old way. Is there a way to save a version of it until, the new thing is done and then you can go back?
Yeah, definitely. So a couple things. One, we have a call to action feature that's on the header of your website. And you can change that anytime, depending on what your focus is. It could be to collect email addresses. It could be to sell tickets to shows. It could be for a crowdfunding campaign. You can change that anytime. In terms of changing the look and feel of the site, you can change your template and design anytime, as many times as you want. It's super easy. It just takes a few clicks, and you can save. I believe you can save works in progress in the theme editor. Whether you can save past versions, I don't know if it works that way. I would have to double check with the support team. I don't want to say yes and then you go check and.
Well, one thing you could do is take a screenshot of it, so you know how you liked it. And yeah, you might have to rebuild it, but it'll be a lot faster.
Yeah, definitely. And chances are, again, changing the template is just a reskinning. So it really, changing the colors in the template actually doesn't take that long. If you're completely changing the layout of the content and the types of content that you have on each page, that's probably a longer process. But the look and colors is super easy to switch back and forth.
Right. And then I just wanted to clear up some things about Bandzoogle. People were asking if it was like HostGator. It's so much more than that. So HostGator is just simply a host where you kind of upload your stuff, but then they don't have a way to, what do you call that? A platform builder or whatever. Bandzoogle is all in one. Bandzoogle will take care of your domain name if you want to have them handle that. It actually comes free, right, when you sign up. So if you have it with somebody else like GoDaddy, they can help you transfer it, or they can buy it for you. And it's like an all-in-one solution where you can just upload all your stuff into there, and then you can build the website based upon their templates, and you don't have to worry about FTP or anything complicated that might occur if you were using say WordPress and some, or some kind of a host service and another kind of builder.
Exactly. It's like you said, it's an all-in-one. So you get the hosting, but you get the free domain name. We register it for you as long as it's available, of course. You can transfer a domain name that you already own. But if you register a domain name through Bandzoogle, we manage it for you. It's free. There's no extra charge as long as you're a member. And if should you cancel for whatever reason, you own that domain. That's a common question we get. We transfer it to you, so you can take that with you. That and your mailing list members, of course, all your data and anything that you collect on your website.
Yeah, there you go, June. So you own your domain. You can they'll help you move it if you want to move to another site or something.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just a little bit of a process, but they hold your hand. That's what I love about Bandzoogle.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Sometimes you can feel like this tech stuff is so overwhelming and scary, but they have a great chat that will walk you through stuff with real people and stuff. So Judy's got a great question, and she mentioned a couple of times, so I want to make sure to. So she was talking about trying to sell older CDs. Do you have any suggestions for trying to kind of get people interested in your back catalog? Say you've got a bunch of physical CDs in your garage or something.
That is a perfect segue to the next section.
Oh,
good. Yeah, because we're going to get into how to sell more of your music, and I talk a little bit about back catalog stuff. So we can get into that. I'm not sure if there's any other questions before we want to move on.
Yeah, I think we can jump into that.
So Tom just said free domains aren't worth it for your music career. Get your own. So just to clarify, Tom, the domains that are registered through Bandzoogle are proper .com domains. It's not a
profile. Not like Bandzoogle.brino.
Yeah. It's not like MySpace or Facebook or anything like that. It's your proper domain. We use a licensed registrar for it, and you own it. You register it through us, but you own that. It's your own custom domain, so it'll be yourname.com. And if you ever leave Bandzoogle for whatever reason, you take that domain with you. So you own it. We don't. We're just managing it for you.
So it's really not a free domain. It would cost you 15, $17 somewhere else. It's just that they're adding it on for free for you guys.
Yeah, as long if you're on any of our 3 paid plans, the domain registration and management is included. We don't charge an extra fee for that. It does cost us money, very tangibly. It does, because we are registering that domain for you. But it's part of we include it in the plan. And again, you take it with you if you ever leave Bandzoogle. It's registered to you, not it's not Bandzoogle's domain.
Right, and there will be a replay, Amy. So don't worry, they'll send it out after we're done.
Yeah. So there's going to be an email sent out this afternoon. Well, in about an hour or two with the link to the replay. Excellent. So the last section is just how to sell more music online. Again, this is similar to how do I get fans, like how do I sell my music? It's a big topic, and there's no right answers or magic answer for this, but here are some of the strategies that we've seen artists use that have worked and could maybe apply to what you're doing. Social media. And this first slide, the temptation might be to shout from the rooftops on Facebook and Twitter about selling your music and that your new music is out. Of course, that's super important. Social media marketing is obviously pivotal to your overall marketing strategy, but it's not necessarily the most effective way to sell things. In some cases, it is. And with the Facebook pixel, and actually Bandzoogle has that integrated into our store feature, so you can track your campaigns on Facebook to see if they're converting into sales. That's, again, a whole other webinar probably. But in terms of selling, to this day, and I did some more research in the last couple of weeks, social media is great for sharing and engagement, which is super important, obviously. But in terms of conversions and sales, believe it or not, email is still the best tool that you can use. And it makes sense because social media is busy. People are just mostly on there to chat with their friends, look at funny videos, funny memes, whatever. Whereas an email, the person is signed up to your mailing list. You're sending them a dedicated email telling them about your new music with a clear call to action of how they can hear it or purchase it. So it makes sense that it would be more effective in that way. They're very different tools, but and they are good for different things. So if you don't have a mailing list yet, the biggest reasons to have one is, again, you own it. So whether you're using Bandzoogle or MailChimp or any other service, the emails you're collecting, you own that database. So you can always take it with you. So if you're using MailChimp and you decide to join Bandzoogle and use our mailing list tool, you upload your database of emails, use our mailing list tool. If you decide to leave again, for whatever reason, you can download that database of emails and take it with you. You own that. So that's incredibly powerful and important. It is the ultimate permission marketing, which I believe is a Seth Godin term. Like if someone gives you their email address, especially these days, like people hate getting spammed. If someone gives you their email address, that means they really want to hear from you and they want to know what's going on in your career. So that's really important to take advantage of that and keep those super fans informed on what's going on in your career. Like I said off the top, it's still the best way to sell. It's better for conversions. There's probably a whole other webinar just on techniques for writing, newsletters and.
Oh yeah, I'm going to be an expert next month on that, so you guys watch out for those emails.
Perfect. That's a must attend for everyone listening, because that's super important.
I talk about it a lot, but Cheryl is like deep.
Oh, Cheryl, yeah, that's great.
Cheryl.
Oh yeah, we know Cheryl. Yeah, know Cheryl very well. She's spoken on a bunch of panels that we've put together over the years. So that's great. That's awesome. So the last reason is it's the best way to stay in touch with your fans over the long term. because again, platforms come and go. And email is just one of these things that is sticking around and doesn't seem to be going anywhere. So there's an artist manager named Emily White in New York who has this great quote: "An email list is like an artist's retirement plan," which means that, you know, as long as you're active in your career and you've built up your mailing list, you can always stay in touch with those fans. So super important. In terms of building your mailing list, just there's plenty more ways, but just here are 9. You know, obviously making it the main call to action on your website, like I mentioned before. You can put it in the header of your website. You know, get a free download in exchange for an email address, which I don't think is enough, even though it's number 3 on this list. I really think it needs to be something exclusive or something that can't be found anywhere else. Or even, speaking of older music, offering an older EP or an older album that's not selling as much anymore. Give that away for free. Get that email address. It's going to be more valuable to you than the $10 for your old album. You know, mentioning your email list through social media, running contests, things like that. Obviously, bring a sign up to for your emailing list to your live shows. You can perform live. You can do it, you know, old school with a pencil and paper, or you can, you know, bring an iPad and have people sign up through your merch table. Obviously, selling direct to fan through your website, like we talked about before. You collect those emails. You know, always encouraging your fans to forward and share your newsletters with your news. And, you know, I've seen artists not sharing lists, that's illegal, but mentioning other artists in their newsletters or on social media to get them to sign up, running contests together, or if they're touring together, making sure to cross promote each other and make sure that, you know, to try to get as many of each other's fans on their own mailing list as possible. Yeah,
I have a bunch of podcasts about those kinds of like joint venture kinds of things, which are really awesome for artists. I was going to say too, like if you've got a bunch of older CDs, one thing that I would suggest is bundling. I don't know if you're going to talk about that, but you can bundle those with your new stuff and make it seem super valuable, and, you know, kind of get rid of that inventory like at cost.
Yep.
Or maybe like make a little money on it, but it sweetens the pot for people. And if you give them like a discount, I used to be like, you know, 1 CD for 15, 2 for 25, 3 for 35, 4 for 40, and people would want them all. And so it would come out to be $10 a CD, but I sold 4 CDs versus only selling 1. So
yeah,
that
exactly.
kind of work really well. And then one other thing, since we were talking about email lists, you can use like a bundle like that to give away if you're performing an event that's kind of more like a closed, it's not like a coffee house where people are in and out, but it's a closed place. You can run a contest and get people's email addresses to put in a hat or something to give away 1 or 2 bundles of stuff. And it's really not costing you much because you've already paid for those CDs and they're just sitting around. So yeah, you can get a ton of emails that way.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, those are excellent points. Anything you can do to collect emails. I just want to address a couple of comments in the chat that I just saw. Hog mentioned that you have to have a certain plan on Bandzoogle to sell your merch. That's true. To sell physical merch, you have to be on at least the middle plan, the standard plan. Then you get the physical merch store. The light plan has the digital music store. All 3 plans do, I should say. And the standard plan, which is $14.95 a month, has the physical merch store. And Serena asked about domain names. If you have more than 1 domain. So if you have more than 1 domain, we include 1 free of charge. If you want to register more than that, we charge $14.95 per year for extra domains on top of the first one. So the first one's free, and then above that, it's $14.95 per year. And we renew those for you. So yeah, the resource, we have this guide, complete guide to email marketing for musicians that you can also check out. But he also clearly has a lot of great resources through the podcast, and is going to have Cheryl on for an event soon, which is awesome. I think I might snoop that one.
Yeah, and I was going to say too, I saw someone ask if Bandzoogle was at NOM. I don't know if you were there, but they do go to a lot of conferences, and I know they're planning on being at the I Create Music conference for ASCAP, right, in beginning of May?
Yes, definitely, and I'm hopeful. Still have to confirm, but I'm hopeful that you'll be there too, Bree, and
I hope so.
Cheryl as well as I'm talking to be
Awesome.
there as a mentor. Speaking of Cheryl, and actually, our next conference is next week, right in my backyard. Finally, in Montreal, Folk Alliance International is going to be here next week, which is very exciting. It was. It's usually in Kansas City, but they come to Canada once every 5 years, and Montreal is the host city this year. So I get to take the subway there.
That's nice. So we're usually all over the place. So.
Exactly.
Yeah, Dave's usually the one that's there. So if you guys go to a conference and there's a Bandzoogle booth, there's a pretty high chance it'll be him. You should go say hi.
Yep, it's usually me. Always happy to talk to people and meet members and meet new people, meet people I've spoken to at webinars. It's always fun to put a face to the name. So, yeah, just a few more slides here just to end off on selling more music. The pay what you want model is an interesting one. I'm not sure if anyone here has tried that, but you know, setting up your music to be pay what, letting the fan decide what they pay. Of course, some people might take the music for free, but there are definitely fans, and you could try this with your older albums. Speaking of, you know, clearing out older CDs or older music, making it pay what you want, just saying, hey, you know, you choose the price. The nice thing about this is that through Bandzoogle and Bandcamp, we both offer this type of feature. You still collect the email address regardless. So you get that data, which is important. But, and again, some people might take it for free, but if someone is really excited about your music and maybe they miss your crowdfunding campaign or you didn't do one, this is a way for them to contribute a little bit more to your career. I have spent 10, even $20 on a single track sometimes because the artist put that option and I really love the song and I wanted to support them. You never know. You just never know. And we haven't done an analysis ourselves, but Bandcamp has done several in the past, and they showed that artists that use the pay what you want model make more than the average of $1 per track and $10 per album. It just, some people take it for free, but the people that pay more than the standard more than makes up for any quote unquote loss of people that download it for free. So that's something you could try. Yeah, Bandzoogle and Bandcamp both have the pay what you want option on the music players. Bree, like you mentioned, physical and digital bundles. So you can, you know, package your newest release with maybe an older CD or vinyl version of your album or of the newest one. But if you want to get rid of some back catalog, you can bundle it with older CDs. And signed copies. So this is something, you know, again, to clear out that older stock. If you do have CDs, vinyl, cassettes, even posters, you know, sign a whole bunch, and you can even charge a little bit more. And that's something unique that fans won't be able to find on iTunes or Amazon or whatever. So that's a way to encourage people to buy some of that older stock. We have a whole guide on selling merch through your website, which includes ideas for merch, things to look out for when you're designing merch in terms of saving money and some pitfalls to avoid, how to set up your store, how to, you know, the layout, things like that. So you can check that out. And yeah, here you go, back catalog deals. So, you know, offer fans, you can maybe even set up like an automated email. Someone buys your new album, they get an email that says, you make sure that you email them and give them maybe a discount code, promo code to keep shopping on your website to buy some of your older albums, or offer a deal on the entire catalog. If it's purchased together, like you said, Brie, like better to make a little bit of money, make your cost back rather than having, you know, especially for physical stuff, having them sit in a box, most likely in your garage. Sale pricing, of course, discount codes. So you shouldn't be discounting. You should be creating value around that and you know, pushing that and promoting it. But to help celebrate the new music, you can offer sale prices and discounts on some of your older stuff as a way to drive more sales there. So to recap this hour-long webinar in 3 points is really to just make sure to engage your fans right from the start of the creation of your album. focused on properties that you own, like your website and your mailing list, to maximize your revenues and collect valuable data. And then finally use a mix of all of the services available to you so that every type of fan, from your casual fan, someone who's just heard of you, or your super fan, can all contribute and pay for your music. Another resource that might be of interest, obviously making money as an artist is a popular subject. We have a free ebook. It's available on the sidebar of our blog, but you can click this link if you get a copy of the slides, and you can download the ebook. It's all different ways to monetize your career. Again, you can find Bandzoogle, bandzoogle.com. Don't forget that promo code. If you do want to try Bandzoogle to build your website, use the promo code Women of Substance for Women of Substance, WS15. You get 15% off your first year. And again, if you would like a copy of the slides, feel free to email me directly at dcool@bandzoogle.com. I will try to get back to you this later today if you email me today. If not, definitely before the weekend, I will get you the PDFs. And again, in the next couple of hours, a replay video is going to go out to everyone that registered for the webinar, so you'll be able to watch a replay video anytime you want. We don't put a time limit on when you can watch it. So I think Bree left the room. She may have maybe lost her connection, unfortunately. So I'm going to try to field some questions here to end off. If you have any questions, feel free to post them in the chat. I'll try to get through as many as possible. I think probably have another 5-ish minutes. If you guys want to stick around, if not, that's cool too. If you guys got to get on with your day. So let me just try to see. Tom asked about Nimbit. Definitely know Nimbit. They have been around for a long, long time. They had been acquired years ago by another company. I don't know what they're up to these days. I cannot vouch for whether you should use them or not. They were kind of a direct-to-fan platform as well, but they don't factor into discussions anymore in that realm. But yeah, I haven't tried their platform in many, many years, so I can't say either way. Someone buys my music via my website. Can I just add their mailing address to my email list, or do they have to opt in first? So Andrea, legally they do have to opt in. So for example, on our platform on Bandzoogle, there's a checkbox that when someone purchases something, there's a little opt-in checkbox, and then you're in the clear. Serena asks, can data from other sites at all be transferred into Bandzoogle? No, although that's something that we're hoping to explore in the not so distant future, to have different data points available in your reports tab, but not at the moment. Right now, you get everything related to your website, sales, streams, downloads, mailing list members, but no social media, SoundCloud, YouTube, anything like that. But again, it's something we're hoping to explore. Thank you all for the pre-Sonus button, but yeah, thanks, Tom. Thank you all for the nice comments. I'm glad that you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. I'm just going to type my email address in the chat here, or if you want a copy of the slides, feel free to reach out. Happy to send those to you. Oh, hey, Paul. Thanks. Yeah, reviewed your website a few years ago in Toronto. Awesome. Thanks for joining the webinar. Thank you, everyone. And big thanks to Bree. Unfortunately, I don't know what happened. I'll have to connect with her, but I think maybe her connection got lost. But yeah, cheers, everyone. Have a great day.